What's up, Tudorinos? Welcome back to the Game Addicts podcast show where we talk about the modern retro video games that we play and collect. I am this podcast player, one Brando. Joining me here today is this podcast player, 2 Mike.
Hello.
Episode 111, take number two. Take number 2. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty with my microphone. It wasn't showing up on our streaming service, so the audio sounded like crap. Last week, or the week before, we took last week off. The last episode we did, Mike's audio sounded different. It's funny because he was talking at his microphone, right? But
the whole time.
But his microphone wasn't even on. It was his webcam audio that was capturing him. So the audio sounded tinny. It was loud. It was all kinds of crap. So then mine sounded like that, and it wasn't even the right microphone. And we were like maybe not even 5 minutes into the episode, and I noticed it. And then when we tried to fix it on the fly, we couldn't fix it on the fly. I had to restart OBS. So. What a do. Here we are once again. Today we're talking about Resident Evil 2. We're going to talk a little bit about Dragon Ball Super Broly because we said we were going to. And then we're also going to talk about some other gaming news that's going on right around the... we're going to try and catch up on a few things that we might have missed last week, just to touch on them real quick. But the main focus of this episode is Resident Evil 2 because we got the game. He's already beat Scenario 1. I'm still working on it. I love the game.
Oh, yeah.
I absolutely love this game. This game is everything that you want a remake to be.
I dock it points only because I want to be able to dodge. Why has Piccolo not showed up and taught them how to dodge? Dodge. But no, outside of that, BS. To me, it's a 10. I don't give 10s very often. But this game is absolutely phenomenal. It hits everything that every gamer asks for from this game. It hits it right in the feels.
Oh man, I love the redesign of the police station. It feels more like logical. Because obviously the lore is that this used to be a museum, right?
Right.
But before, everything felt so even more spread out than what they made it a little bit more condensed. It seems like in some respects, it's still big, it's still massive, but
yeah,
it seems to have a little bit more of a good flow for a building that is being utilized as a police station. That being said, I also love how there are some areas that are just completely without power, and all you have is the light of your flashlight. And it adds to the tense, it adds to the anxiety. And I will say this, just to be free and open, I've been, for the past couple of months, probably since like November, maybe even like mid-October, I've been going through like some anxiety stuff and like maybe even some like depression stuff. And it's just something, I mean, I don't know why, I don't know how. But of course, with life happenings, it goes up, it goes down. But man, that first weekend of playing this game, I also threw my back out at work on Friday while laughing at this.
That was my fault.
I laughed so hard at this guy, I about threw my back out, and it hurt so bad. So here I am Friday night trying to play this game, right? And of course, this game is meant to make you anxious, and I definitely felt that. But it made me tense, and it was hurting my back being that tense. So I only played it for so long Friday night. Saturday, I played it some more. But after a while, it just got to a point where I'm like, you know what? I've been battling my anxiety to some extent for a while, and it just after so long, it made me just I need to put it down for a little bit. Because
right.
and honestly, I'm not saying that I don't like the game because of that. I actually like the game more because of that, because it is making me feel that anxious, and that's exactly what this game is supposed to do. A game like this, it's almost like it's a horror game first, it's a survival game second, and an action game third, because uh, you know, you're meant like, okay, I have weapons, I have guns, I have ammo, I'm supposed to kill all these things in front of me, but really, that's the trick. That is the absolute trick, because
No.
these everything, they're like ammo sponges. The, like I never like and I think I've said this to you before, that I feel like The Walking Dead has really glamorized zombies as being easy to kill with a headshot. I'd put 6 shots into a damn zombie's head and couldn't kill the damn thing. It went down. It got back up. It started beating on the door. And I'm like, what? Stay down. And that thing, that happened to me like 2 or 3 times, where like I knocked it down. It came back up. I knocked it back down. Typically, the old rule of Resident Evil was, once it's knocked down twice, you're good.
Yep.
Not in this one. The damn things get back up again and will follow you into other rooms, which never happened before. But before you'd clear a room of zombies, you come back later. They'd all, like, the janitor had come in, he cleaned up after you. Everything was nice and neat. No more bodies everywhere. That's not the case here whatsoever.
But that's what makes it beautiful, because there's some times where you could put a zombie down. I've experienced this where I put a zombie down and left the room completely, entirely. Came back 40 minutes to an hour later, he comes back alive. And I'm just like, I dropped you.
And
Like,
and also
I know that.
also, like, it's been laying there since then, and then you coming back is what? Huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what?
I'll tell you what, though, there's some things about this game that there's things that they got so right that I'm not a guy that jumps and gets scared very easily. And there has been a couple of times where my wife wanted to sit and just watch. She doesn't want to play. She's playing it now because I kind of told her to.
Yeah.
But she sit and watched me play it. My first through for the first scenario, which I know is really long, but I'm being nitpicky. I'm looking at details. I'm stopping for 5-10 minutes and listening to the ambient noise. Took me 10 hours. Now, that's kind of absurd now that I've started my second playthrough as Claire. I played through as Leon the first time, and I have already unlocked 60% of the police station already, because I've learned, don't kill a zombie.
Mm-hmm.
Just put it down. That's it. Take the legs out. I no longer aim for headshots. I just put legs down and I move on. I corral them into a specific spot, and I run around them. I don't jack with them anymore at all.
That's really like the trick, because the thing is that you want to save that ammo for the times that you're really going to need it. And they sort of like pull that little trickery on you, and they make you feel like you want to fight your way through this, when really that's not the best way to go. The best way is just run away. When I was down in the parking lot with the dogs,
Oh God,
I didn't shoot a single dog. I ran. I just ran.
I'm
I ran right through.
right, and I ended up doing that. But the first couple that you get in the dog kennel room, I had to put them down. They would not let me at the door. So I pulled out the old shotgun and one good blast, they were down. But man, let me tell you what. They give you can kill every zombie in the boss fights with Birkin. They give you just enough ammo. That is it. You cannot miss a shot, because most of the times when I went to fight Birkin, I was at 2 clips. And I'm like, crap. All right. And as I'm going through trying to kill him, I burn through all my ammo. It's like, because in there they did such a good job with the animations and the movements of the enemies, that it's not okay. His normal path, sway path is this. It's all obscure, and he'll walk with his hand, and you're just like, you have to shoot his hand. It's like, what in the Come on, come on. But outside of that, it is amazing. Some of the fights are really hard. The last two fights, the last fight I didn't have that much trouble with. The William Birkin fight where he's fully transformed. Holy crap. He takes no crap. If you get too far away, he's throwing stuff at you. And it's not like it takes him a while to do the animation to to throw it. But the thing is he's not going to miss you and the entire ground catches on fire every time. So yeah. But I love it.
Yeah, I'm
I love
looking
it.
forward. I'm looking forward to getting further into the game and beating it. It's just a matter of, as I said, I played it on Friday and Saturday, and then spending time with the kids, spending time with the wife, watching some movies and that kind of stuff on Sunday. So, I mean, in fact, I think I might have played it for a little bit on Sunday. I think I got to a point. I think I'm right at the point where Mr. X shows up, and so that's just. I haven't had time to play it at all this week. Of course, uh, I was on our good friend Blaine and Anti Tyler's podcastrophy, along with Matt. Uh, I was talking about Dragon Ball Super Broly over there, and of course,
Yeah.
Tyler shaved his freaking beard.
It's anti Tyler.
Yeah, Anti Tyler now.
I feel like I've lost a second friend. I have my friend, but he's not really my friend. He's just a shell of the friend I once knew.
Well, see, he said he was going to do it before, like back in
Ah,
August or something. He's like, "Yeah, I'm
yeah.
I'm going to do it for the holidays," and then he didn't. And then all of a sudden I see him, and I'm like,
Yeah.
anyway. So Resident Evil 2 has already shipped 3 million copies. That's great because the original game had shipped about 5 million across the PlayStation, N64, Dreamcast, GameCube versions, and as well as the PSN version as well that you can download like on the PSN store. If you have a PS3 or a PS Vita, you can definitely play it there. But now, like, I actually look forward to finishing RE2 the remake and then going back to the original for that
Huh.
old school nostalgia
If you
because
have it on PC, you could just go ahead and make it all look the same.
exactly. I remember. I think on the last episode we talked about that, and then I found the screenshots and sent it to you. I didn't have it ready to load up to show the stream, but yeah, that was
Freaking
hilarious.
awesome.
Yeah, it was funny. It's definitely like a cool little touch, but uh, I love the original game. It's one of my favorite games of all time. Probably in my top 10 for sure. But this game is they did everything exactly the way that you would want them to do as far as a remake goes. Instead of like they didn't just copy and paste it and they made it as if they would make it today, and it works. It
And the
just
thing is, they did not do anything to the integrity of the story. They
mm-hmm.
made it better.
Yeah.
And that's what I like. Like you get a little bit more with Ada and a little bit of more of her interaction. And man, it's awesome. It is literally an awesome game. And I'm really happy this has come to fruition. And I must say this out loud. If someone has the link to the Nemesis petition,
I just saw it.
please, please send it my way.
I'm
I want
sending
to
it your
sign
way.
it.
I'm sending it your way right now because I saw it just a little while ago when I was
I
looking
want to
for the
sign it.
when I looked for the video to show or to send to you about the Mr. X gonna give it to you.
It's gonna give it to you.
So I also guess today, as we record this on Wednesday, January 30th, I guess there's a big Xbox Live um, outage.
Really?
Yeah, uh, and I guess gamer like Xbox gamers flipped the freck out because that doesn't normally happen to them. I could just imagine them saying like, "What is this PlayStation?" Come on, man. Where is it? I know I freaking saw it.
I'm waiting. I'm literally sitting here waiting for it.
I, I know I saw it. The issue is that it was in the Metal Jesus Rocks group. I'll definitely find it and send it your way. But the issue is that it's bundling together stuff from today, yesterday, Sunday, and it's not all in order.
Oh, I hate it when it does that.
Yeah. So like it's quite literally just kind of bouncing around all over the place. So with that being said, uh, yes, there's a petition for 3 to be made. They did say that they would make 3 if there was enough demand, and I think there will be. Uh, it says here that the entire series has sold 88 million units since its debut in '96. That's amazing. Of course, I mean this
Yeah.
is looking at probably even like all the main titles and like all your like re-releases and sub games and like some of your bad ones. So the original game ended up selling 4.96, roughly, 5 million copies sold,
Right.
just like we said. And then with Resident Evil 7 and now having gone on to sell 6 million units, they're looking to achieve a similar long-term sale for 2. I think they're going to get it. They've already shipped 3 million.
I think that they will get well over that, to be honest.
I wouldn't be surprised to see a lifetime sale, definitely in the 8 to 10.
I'm
However,
10
however,
would be awesome.
yeah, 10 would be awesome. The reason why I say that is that I feel like there's a little bit more hype behind this than there was 7. Not that seven's a bad game or that there wasn't any hype for it because it was a different, but it was that changing of the guard, that changing of the feel from the 4, 5, 6 formula to 7. Now it's going to be different. What's this going to be like? We played a demo. I don't know. Some people were really hyped. Some people were like, I don't know. This is RE2. This is RE2. This is taking that Resident Evil 4 formula and then mixing it with the original formula in the greatest way possible.
Yeah.
And then of course what they introduced in like 7 with all those people basically stomping around the house is they did that with Mr. X.
Which works.
It absolutely works. Instead of that, in the original game, Mr. X he was programmed to show up in certain spots. Uh, when you got to a certain point in the game, I remember specifically going into the press room, and you had to like light these torches to get something, like a cog or something.
Right.
And he would burst through the freaking wall right as soon as you solve the puzzle. And you're like, "Ah, you bastard!" And you can either just run away, or you can take him down, right? So of course, old school RE2, sitting there shooting all your shit at him and taking him down, and then he falls. So then you go get the cog, you leave, you around the corner, and you see where he busted the damn wall. You're like, that's cool.
Right.
And then you around the corner again, and he burst through that wall.
Yeah.
Now, though, he actually is like marching around the whole time. And if you're in a room nearby and you make too much noise, he will hear you and come after you.
Yep.
And that has led to some gamers to say this game is too hard. Uh, I actually think with the bullet sponge zombies, with the lickers, with Mr. X, I think what the game does is give you an accurate representation of how things fell apart so quickly and how some of the stuff just isn't as easy as you think it is to defeat.
You think that it should be easy due to the current adaptation. But let me tell you what, the liquors aren't really that bad. Like they're bad, don't get me wrong, but if you keep them, they can be managed. Now when I went through, there is a point where I did something and liquors fell out of the room when you blow up that C4 pouch
Yep,
thing.
yep.
Okay, so I had to go back in there by mistake because I forgot that that cabinet had fallen over.
Mm.
So I've got X on my butt and I'm like trugging along. And I'm like, yeah, I'll just hop in here, drop down to the thing. I'll just run through. We'll be good. The library. I'll be back in the main hall and I can readjust. No, I walked in that room, 2 liquors, can't get out. And I'm like, oh shit, here we go. This is my trap nightmare because I burst through the door and he grabs one of the liquors and he just kind of tosses it to the side, just like get out of the way. I'm like, oh, and grabs a hold of me and just smashes me to the ground. I'm like, well, this kind of blows. And that's where I realized that there is a invulnerability glitch where when you're getting back up, it doesn't. Sometimes you normally it'll push you away from X, but I was surrounded, so it pushed me into X, and then I was able to pass through him because I was effectively trapped.
Yeah.
I was able to pass through him and get out of the room, but it was fun. There's back to me getting scared of this game. So, did you find it?
Yeah, yeah, I just sent you the link.
Yeah, definitely gonna sign that. So what he does is I was going through a room
Mhm.
and I had cleared this room twice, and it's at the end of it with the plant zombies, and going up and down the stairs a couple of times, doing whatever it is. I use the pesticide, and I use that route to go through because there's ammo I left, and I knew that the last part I was going to is at this point I'm going to fight Birkin.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to pick up as much ammo. So as I'm going through this hallway, this stairwell, literally one of them stupid plant zombies fell.
Wife is here with some little bit of a treat for me. So, as a
And,
treat, she makes the best like roasted red potatoes, and we normally have
okay.
them as a side for like pork chops or steak or something.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "Hey, do you want some of that for like we have these red potatoes we had to use?" And she goes, "I'll just make them for a snack." I went, "Hell yeah!" And you know what? Even if we're still recording, bring them in. They're so good. I simply cannot wait. So I do apologize for eating on the show, but I'm not waiting for these things to like cool down.
But anyways,
Carry on with the chlorophyll.
all right. He fell on top of me and knocked me down. And I actually got scared and like really gripped the control. And I looked like I was gonna throw it. And Joanna was like, "Holy crap!" I don't think like she watched me. She sat and watched me for 10 hours, and I got scared quite a bit. And one of them was that stupid room next to the um, the development room. It's a safe room, and going up and down those stairs. So as I went, it's like the one of the very first hallways you go through,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been through this hallway 100 times. I boarded up the window. I know what's in this room, but I don't. And I come down the stairs. X is following me, and I'm running down the stairs. I turn the corner, and there's a licker looking at me down the hallway. Well, I forget that the window behind me is boarded up, and there's a zombie at it. So he literally reaches over me, and I was like, "Holy shit!" And I got scared, and I like ran. And as I ran, the licker came at me, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And then here comes Mr. X. I'm like, "Well, okay, I give up. You win."
I did.
I did, but somehow I survived it. I hid in the press room or in that room and stood there. Actually, he could go into those safe rooms.
Yeah.
So I turned the lights off and I'm like sitting in there with my camera panned to the side. I'm like, is he coming for me? Like he keeps going up and down the stairs right there. And the ambient noise of him walking doesn't give you a really good sense of exactly where he is in your 360-degree
Mm-hmm.
bubble. And I'm just like, man, where is he here? Is he here? I can't find him. And finally I open the door really slowly, and I don't want to go past the liquor because I don't have the ammo. I just, oh my god. And if I shoot once, he's coming down the stairs at me. It's nuts. But that's what makes it good.
Exactly. I mean, it really drives the tense. It makes you so tense. And as I said that about my back on Friday, like I hadn't even got to that point yet, but Um, so when you set off the C4 and you go in to solve the little puzzle, there's a liquor
Yeah.
there, and of course that cabinet falls over.
Right.
There's a zombie in there, and there's a liquor in there. It's not too bad, right? Or so I thought, because I only had a little bit of ammo on me because, like an idiot, I had dropped some zombies in some areas to kind of clear a path for me in a couple areas. And I didn't have a whole lot of shotgun ammo either. I had about 6 shots in my shotgun ammo, and it quite literally it. If you ever see me stream an action game, you know that I'm either a really terrible shot or a great shot. There is no in between. There is no, oh, Brando's kind of good at this game. Let's watch him. I either am a stormtrooper to the fullest and can't hit the broadside of a barn, or I am like free aiming headshots.
Yeah.
Mike saw this when we streamed Last of Us. I think it was like part 3. It was a part when you in LA get to his brother's place, right? Uh,
Right.
and then I completely died or failed, and he took over, and then somebody came behind him and got him, so I took over, and then all of a sudden I'm dropping people with headshots, and then he's like, "What?"
Yeah.
So anyway, for this, I went to go leave the way that I need to go back to the main hall to use this last medallion, but like you said, that bookshelf fell over,
Yep.
and yeah, I died there like 3 times. But this version of the game actually has autosave.
Yeah.
That is a saving grace. I no longer fear death. Mike is now leaving the show. He's
I am not leaving the show.
not leaving
I'm
the show.
trying to sign this petition, and my wife has effectively changed my passwords to stuff. So I have a little thing here with my passwords
Yeah, she does that, doesn't she?
every couple of months.
Drive me up the wall, man. I get it, but drive me up the wall.
As much stuff that's happened, I don't blame her.
I do apologize for the crunch if any of this is like really loud. Some of these are bits of red potato are pretty crunchy. So RE2 is worth the price of admission. Absolutely, for sure. I look forward to playing it more. I did get Kingdom Hearts 3 in. It is installed, ready to go, but I'm not going to play it until I beat RE2. At least one scenario. I want to at least beat one scenario before I even start Kingdom Hearts 3. So
Right.
that's where I'm at. Last thing on Resident Evil 2 before we carry on. So hackers have been able to find a Chris Redfield model in the game. Now he appears to be wearing the same outfit that he wore for his DLC in Resident Evil 7, called Not a Hero. And according to the post, the character found in RA2's files, he's perfectly playable, although the post notes, when he puts his weapons away, they will just follow him on the ground. I'm guessing this is just because he doesn't have the bones to support them.
Huh.
But, I mean, people are wondering whether or not it's going to be, is this going to be like a DLC mode, or we're going to be able to play like survival mode? Because I want to say there was a survival mode on one of the versions of RE2. I don't know if it was the DualShock or N64. I don't remember which one it was. But I want to say that you could play as Chris in a survival mode. But I kind of think it was probably just a tester. I think they were working with the engine. They already had his model available, and they just put him in there to see what it is. And then, I mean, when the game ships, some of that stuff still is in the data. So
Yeah.
my imagining is that they never even had him not aiming his weapon. Is why the whole way it just drops down. Like they don't even he never to me they were trying to figure out how to get the engine to work for the RE7 engine to work for in an RE2 sense. They were just like, all right, we don't have any of the new character models done. Here's the Chris one, put him in there, let's go.
Yeah.
So are you signing that petition or not?
I signed it. It's just I hate the way it's like chip in money. Do this. Here's 6 more petitions. Here, contact your Gmail. Oh, Gmail is gonna go ahead and we're gonna automatically send this email to every person in your friends account. It's like, no. I just want to share the link,
Mm-hmm.
people. So I'm gonna copy the link and I'm gonna post it to my books of many faces.
So while he's messing around with that, I have the Xbox Live games of gold for February and the PS Plus free games for February. As always, here on the show, we like to try and inform you of what the free games are, no matter what your platform of choice. Maybe it's both. And that way you can go get your free games because if you got a subscription, you might as well get your free games, right? So
Right.
for the Xbox, for February, Bloodstained Curse of the Moon will be free. Of course, this is the new Castlevania 3 retro style game. This was a bonus game to be released with Bloodstained, which is not out yet. Like Bloodstained is like the spiritual successor to Symphony of the Night, Castlevania.
Yes.
And of course, these games are made by Koji Igarashi. He made Symphony of the Night. He was in his favorite game before that was Castlevania 3, so Curse of the Moon is pretty much that. So that is free for Xbox One. Also, is Super Bomberman R, and I want to say that is the one that's on the Switch, isn't it?
Yes.
So Super Bomberman R is on the Xbox One for free for all you guys out there. And then for the 360 games, or backwards compatibility, you have Assassin's Creed Rogue, and you have Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy. So we have a 360 game, and then of course, and like an original Xbox game. Not a bad couple of games here. There's not a bad game on the list here at all. This is a really good selection. Rogue gets like shoved underneath the rug a little bit because Assassin's Creed Rogue came out. It was like a dual game release, if you remember. It was like Unity and then Rogue. Rogue was only on the 360 and PS3, while Unity was on the PS4 and Xbox One. That was the first next gen Assassin's Creed game officially. Like Black Flag was both, you know. But Rogue is essentially the Black Flag engine. It's that same game again, but now with a new story where you play as an assassin who turns and joins the Templars. And it actually does fit in between Black Flag and Assassin's Creed 3 in the story. It's almost like a stopgap. There are characters in 3 that and from Black Flag that you encounter. So it's kind of cool. I never did finish it, but it plays just like Black Flag, and Black Flag's an amazing game. It has the same kind of C gameplay, so can't go wrong there. Now with the PlayStation ones. Now, Mike.
Yes, Brando.
We have arrived.
We have arrived at what?
Well, they announced last year that starting in March 2019, they would no longer be giving free games out for PS3 and PS Vitas.
Right.
February will be the last month that you get free games for PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Vita.
So they need to be hitting it hard. So,
for the PS3, you get Dive Kick and Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots.
Huh.
So MGS4 is one of the biggest exclusives that's on the PS3. It's still an exclusive for that system. It has not come out for any other system. Go get it. It's a long one. It's a damn near a movie in a game, but it is by far it's free. You cannot argue with free. And not only IGN, I remember that gave that a 10 back in the day. Is it a 10 now? Maybe not. But it's damn good. For the Vita, you get a game called Gun House and then Rogue Aces. And that is also cross-buy with PS4, so you can download them on your PS4. The PS4 games, you're getting For Honor. You remember that game?
Oh, yeah.
So you get For Honor and Hitman, the complete first season, the new one, which I played some of that on Game Pass when I had that, and it was pretty good. I mean, it was Hitman. It was equally fun and frustrating. So, quite literally, both sides are have great games here. The game called Dive Kick on PS3, that is cross-buy with Vita, so be sure to download that. Download these games wherever you can. Get your free games. And then I also saw an update where the PlayStation Plus cloud storage is going to increase by 10 times.
That's good. It needs to.
Yeah, so it'll be something. I mean, now that we're not going to get the other games, the old games, and we're starting to get more prolific PS4 games for free. I mean, Steep was the game for January. That was that snowboarding, that snow extreme
Yeah.
sports game. So good stuff. Good stuff. So, Mike,
Yes.
Dragon Ball Super Broly.
Yes.
We went and saw it in the theater.
We did.
Opening night.
That's canon.
That's canon. We saw this opening night, and
Yep.
just so we went to go eat at Five Guys beforehand.
Yep.
Had a great sandwich.
Yes. Five Guys is always good.
It was my first time trying it. I've never been there.
It's good.
I'm just never around that area. And anytime I see it, like in other areas, we're always just driving by. And it's like, oh, I want to try that, but uh, is now the perfect time while we're on the go to get one of the greasiest cheeseburgers you'll ever have.
One of the best cheeseburgers you ever
I
have.
agree, but it's also greasy. And if you've got IBS, you better be in a place where you can make a pit stop. So I loved it. It was awesome. We go to the theater, and it's sold out. We already have our tickets, but there were people who could not see this movie.
Specifically, the guy in front of us,
Yes.
who we were talking about with one of the Podcastrophe co-hosts, Matt, and he's like, "So the movie's sold out. We can't get tickets." And we're like, "Oh, that sucks." So he leaves, and the guy in front of us turns around and says, "I'm sorry, what movie were you guys talking about that sold out?" We told him, and you could see on his face the instant disappointment, just utter. Oh, really? That's the only reason why he came to town and then stormed out.
I'm pretty sure he was like storming out and like kind of like cussing under his breath.
Oh yeah. So this theater was packed. I only saw like 4 or 5 seats available.
So I was told that the next night, there was a couple that came in, and there were no seats, 2 seats available next to each other. So they stood the entire time and watched the movie, ate popcorn, and shared a drink standing by the entryway. Yeah. This movie was sold out.
Well, we got a theater. It was sold out up to
Saturday. Now,
Sunday.
A guy from work that we work with is sold out for his showing.
Yeah.
And then Blaine went again with Matt and Tyler. Tyler went this time. And that was like a week later on Thursday. And that showing was damn near sold out if it wasn't. So a week later, it was still selling out.
But the only problem is that it's only because there's only one available time each day.
Sure. But when we saw the original Broly, it wasn't sold out.
No,
it was like maybe a third full. There were some people in there hanging out, and younger and older, us, and then, but so we went and we ended up meeting somebody that we used to work with.
Yeah,
and him and his kid were there, and we sat with him. There was a bunch of different kinds of people in there. One of Blaine's friends from the Doom Room, Austin, I think his name is. He was there.
Yep.
We met up with him after and talked to him. There was a dude in front of us, though. I'm going to let you take it from here.
So this guy, he was a hodgepodge of like everything. He had an Arizona green t-shirt on. He had blue hair. He was rocking a Switch. He had a book that, what did it say? It was gaming
development. Yeah, it was like a textbook.
Yeah. And he was probably 40 something.
Had to have been 46.
And we both all kind of looked at each other like, man, this guy right here. Wow. Not saying anything bad about him, but man, he was just a hodgepodge of so many different things. He seemed nice. I'm sure he was a good guy,
Yeah,
but but he was sitting there. I mean, he had his headphones on,
he was
playing the
very
Switch.
his hair. It wasn't just blue; it was like rainbow.
No,
The dude had a bald spot up here. I'm not dogging on bald spots. I got receding hairline and I got bald spot up here. So not dogging on that. I'm just saying like it. Everything about his presentation was very loud
yes,
and cool. He seemed like I'm gonna feel really bad if he really wasn't 46. If he was like really in his 20s, dude looked 46.
yeah,
And one of my wife's friends, uh, she's currently going to school and she's working, and essentially she's surviving off of her student loans. It sucks because she's in the medical field and she doesn't earn enough money to pay her bills. So essentially, her plan is to be a student forever at this point. Like, jokingly, but I wouldn't like when I see this guy, this potentially middle-aged man, getting into gaming development,
yeah,
makes me think that he's a student, that he's a forever student. Now, granted, maybe I'm just laughing because where we saw this was kind of down on campus, so maybe he just looked old. I don't know, but
yeah.
but
Yes.
we went. So we saw the movie. It was a great movie. It's to me, it's the best actual Dragon Ball movie they've ever made because it actually had plot and subtext and subplot, and it had build up. A lot of times for Dragon Ball movies, they start and they're like, "Yeah, here's the bad guy, and here's what's going on. He's looking for this. He's doing this." And then the heroes are like, "Huh, let's go fight him." And then they fight him, and then they spend like the movie's like 40 minutes. I think Broly was the original Broly movie was the longest movie at like an hour or like maybe an hour and a half. It was that one had some story to it, but it was just the original Broly movie was like I'm mad at Goku because he cried a lot.
Yeah, and I'm inherently just evil because reasons, because of Goku
Yeah.
crying all the time.
So the new one's different. They actually give him some character, and I brought up on Podcastrophe. They were kind of dogging and saying that like he should be more ruthless because of how his dad treated him in growing up. But to me, what it comes off as Broly is like a victim of depression.
Yeah.
He's very down. His dad killed his best friend, like an animal. His dad would push him, get him angry to the point where he can't control himself, and then he would shock therapy him.
Yep.
So he's like a caged animal. He's very docile, not going to hurt anybody. And then once he gets let go, then you can't stop him unless you got the little shock collar. And of course they take care of that pretty early on. But I like it.
Yeah.
I really like that, and I also like the fact that maybe he's just like he comes off as more sympathetic and not just evil.
Well,
Uh,
they give him a story.
yeah,
He's not just this happened, this happened. He's evil.
right.
Like, and he's just he's a rage mongrel, and that's all he is. And yeah, his power is the fact that he has the berserker rage, but he has a backstory. He has a tragic backstory. So it is what it is. I enjoyed this story a lot. I think that the only thing, and everybody's kind of complaining about it, is that now it's official that Goku is Superman.
They changed it to where instead of the Saiyans just sending him off, his dad sends him off because he has a bad hunch.
Yep.
That is Superman.
Yep.
Unfortunately, that's the only thing I don't like. I like how they changed Bardock into a more sympathetic character,
Yeah.
where where he's like I've never really cared. Maybe I should start caring. I like that because then in the original Bardock thing, he didn't give a crap about Goku because he was so weak. He didn't care.
Right.
And now,
But they changed that. They didn't make him weak. He had so the Saiyans believed all in latent ability. So you're born with a latent ability, and the reason why Bardock didn't have Goku in there because he had such a high latent ability, but yet he was a lowly foot soldier,
mhm.
and they would send him off because he's too powerful. Essentially,
Well, And I like how they kind of retconned the actual like Saiyan lifestyle,
Yes.
where they actually have homes and partners and wives or whoever, right? Whereas before, it always seems like, man, it seems like they just go back to to their home planet just to heal up and drink and before they get their next mission, and then like that's just like a almost like a gas station or like
Right.
a bar that they go to. So I like how it changed that. I liked how they didn't necessarily change Broly's story, other than that Vegeta had him sent away. King Vegeta had him sent away. In the original, he has him executed, essentially
Right.
stabbed, and then they're left for dead. Then this one is different. He has him sent away. Broly's dad goes to go get him. They're both stuck on the damn planet, and remain so until Frieza, who's now alive because of the events of Dragon Ball Super,
Yeah.
um, is trying to rebuild his force. And a couple people find Broly and his dad there, bring him back, and Frieza gets a little bit of a
Well, Frieza has sent out people of low power level, battle power level,
yeah,
and has sent them out to recruit high battle power,
yeah.
essentially.
I like how they don't call it power level anymore; they call it battle power.
Yeah.
But uh, I felt like as a movie, as something that is put together as a movie, this was like one of the best Dragon Ball ones that they've done. Other than some of the like, I thought the Trunks special was really good. Uh,
Right.
I really like the original Bardock special, but now that's not like that's kind of been erased because of this. But like when you look at some of the older ones, like Dead Zone or World's Strongest, Triomite, Lord Slug. I'm not saying any of those are bad, Dragon Ball movies, but this one feels more like they put effort into it to be a movie.
Well, it has the Akira Toriyama feel, and it progresses
Mm-hmm.
perfectly. What I like is the way that he takes the Frieza character and the way that that develops through is absolutely amazing. One of the probably one of my favorite moments in the whole movie is Frieza standing there watching the fight, and he's thinking, I don't know if Bardock's gonna win, and then he remembers
Broly.
how to push. Well, yeah, and he's remembering how Goku got pushed over the edge to go Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
So what's he do? He kills.
He
he
kills he
kills.
kills he kills Broly's dad.
He kills Broly's dad, and then he turns around and like he has this sheer look of evil on his face, and he turns around and he shoots him, and then when he turns around, he's got this facade on. It's like, oh my god, Broly, look, a stray energy blast killed your father. Oh my god, and it's just the way he's real over the top. And it's hilarious because of the way it's played out. And then Broly goes Super Saiyan while he's
In Berserk.
in Berserk, and it pushes him over the edge. But I like the way that Goku still kind of likes Frieza but hates Frieza. You know what I mean?
I think hate's a strong word for Goku. I don't think Goku really hates anybody. I think he wishes that Frieza would stop all the foolishness.
Well, he's the first person that he's actually fully killed on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So, out of all of the characters, I would assume that he is the least liked one out of all of them.
But
But
I like how they take Frieza and make him more comedic. I like how his wish was to get taller.
only 5 centimeters,
Well,
because if it's too drastic, then people will think that something has happened and it's not still growing.
And then Bulma, it's funny because before that she was like she wanted to look 5 years younger, and only 5 because people would notice, and then she think that she had surgery or something. The writing in this thing was really good. I like how they brought in the fusion dance fusion finally and made that canon. I love how Vegeta was so embarrassed to do it, just like he should be.
I would rather Broly kill me.
Right. But I also like how he wasn't as cocky or shit talking as he normally is. Like
Oh,
normally the fusions are like they waste time,
yeah.
and he didn't really do it. The one thing on Podcastrophe that they were talking about was the inconsistency of where the Patora earrings, the Vegito fusion in Super, them using the Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan transformation, Super Saiyan Blue, if you will, ended up cutting that transformation short because of how much energy was being consumed. And I brought up that in the original Dragon Ball Z, they did the same thing with Gotenks when he went Super Saiyan 3. It was supposed to be a half hour, but when he's in Super Saiyan 3, it consumes it and is only about 10 minutes. In this one, it doesn't really seem to have that much of an effect. And also, one thing that I forgot to mention on their podcast was they did it as a joke, but essentially, Golden Frieza lasts for an hour against
Yeah.
Broly because when they fuse, they have to wait for the fusion to wear off.
Yeah.
They can't just
Yeah.
unfuse and try again.
30 minutes.
And they messed it up twice because they got to get skinnier and they got to get really fat, right? They got to mess it up until they finally get it right. And so while they're waiting, Frieza's still fighting Broly
Getting his ass whooped.
for an hour.
Yeah.
And I know, like, I'm trying not to think too logistical about that. But like at the same time, as I'm watching it, I'm like, so Frieza's that much of a badass that he's lasting longer than Goku and Vegeta did against him.
Well, I think that Goku and Vegeta kind of fought at a certain level and then realized, oh crap, we're not going to beat him. And then when Goku fights him and then he goes Super Saiyan, it's like, oh crap. And Frieza's just trying to survive the
Yeah,
entire time.
sure.
So,
I'm not saying that Frieza is but the fact that he is surviving for an hour, when
yeah.
in comparison, like the other two were having trouble keeping up and getting, they got out of dodge essentially. Is what happened. Goku was able to get them out of there, but
Goku pawned Broly off on Frieza is what happened.
no, it was so
Hey,
good.
Frieza, heads up.
It was so good.
What?
But and then of course we get one nitpick they also had was the reality break thing when they're fighting it, like it's the whole thing where the reality breaks and they're like fighting in between the realms or whatever because they're so strong.
Well, I mean, that also happens in Dragon Ball Super where um, Goku and Lord Beerus, if you don't absorb the impact of your punches, it can actually break the reality. It can actually completely destroy the universe. They go into Whis goes into depth about when they make impact, and if they do another impact, it will destroy that fracture of time.
Hmm.
So it makes sense, but I get it. Yeah, it's kind of like
It didn't really bother me.
it didn't bother me either.
It is
So
like the thing is that I'm not going to go into this movie. I'm going into it as a Dragon Ball fan, not necessarily to nitpick every little thing about it because I'm the guy that likes the old movies. And there's not too many of those that are actually good, real good movies. Like, yeah, they're fun to watch and good fights or whatever. But I mean, apart from the original Broly movie, and then Wrath of Dragon was really good because it was different. You know, there's some good stories here and there, but like I just when you compare them to like the newer movies, the Battle of the Gods, the Resurrection F, and then now this one, these three newest movies have been like really really good. And
yes,
I actually like the movie versions for the most part, like of the Battle of the Gods and then Frieza, better than their Super version counterparts. There's stuff in there that I do like from Super, but as far as tone goes, I feel like the movies kind of capture a better tone. And honestly, I think that's just me as a fan. That was something that when I watched Super, I had a hard time in some spots getting into it because the tone was different than what I wanted or expected. And
I
not that it's bad, it's just it's it's almost like it's like what kind of coffee do you like? It's like everybody likes different kind of coffee. It's still coffee, but it's like I may not like the same flavors or the same creamers or as much sugar as you do. And while it's still at its base Dragon Ball, its tone is sometimes different for me and not quite what I want it to be. And maybe that's nostalgia for old DBZ and it's not that. And I know it's not that. And that's why I'm still enjoying it. But at the same, I'm watching it and it's hard to grasp me sometimes. The movies are a different feel altogether. And one last thing that I want to say, the art direction for Broly, like making it look like the manga come to life pretty much. That's
Yeah.
what I want the series to look like. The series looks good, it looks very crisp, but I think like this is what Dragon Ball should look like. It looks awesome.
I don't disagree. I don't. I like the green vortex where Broly's overpowering. Like it's just all of his energy is just constantly being released.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the world view where they have like an outside world view, and it's his power because Broly's power is green and it's swirling, and it looks like it essentially looks like a black hole. It's all green in this swirl, the black swirl, and it looks really good. But with Broly, back to this, the fight, I liked when Gogeta showed up
Right.
and he toys with him, and then he finally is like, okay, we're done. But he doesn't play as much as he did in, and I know nobody likes this at all, but in Dragon Ball GT, he's not as playful.
Mm-hmm.
He's to the point, and as we talked about before, Gogeta completely just outmatches him and overpowers him when he wants to. Because at first he's kind of trying to match his level to where he can actually have a good fight, and then finally he's just like, "I'm done. Like this is over. We're done."
And
And
that's when Broly starts kind of losing.
yep,
Uh,
because he's just overwhelming him.
well, he starts losing his transformation. Essentially, he start losing his power.
Yeah, but
And
still at the point where Gogeta is literally pummeling him
mhm.
constantly. He doesn't let up at all. He's just up in his face, and like when he gets knocked down and he's like getting up to do an attack, Gogeta's already there.
Well, and then really, it looks like he starts losing his berserk, right?
Yeah,
Because then he's all,
his eyes are starting to come
yeah, his
back,
eyes are starting to come back. He's still Super Saiyan, but he's starting to lose that. And then Gogeta goes in for like, all right, this is it, the death blow. And then,
and he tells him, "This is it. You're done."
yep. And then of course, the hot space alien girl.
That Blaine wants to bang.
Yes, she's green. She's very voluptuous. Well, she's got a thing for Broly. She likes him, and they steal the Dragon Balls from Frieza and wish Broly back to his home planet.
Yeah,
And then okay, he's gone. And then they end the movie with Goku finding them. They end up leaving Frieza's force and going to find Broly. And Goku brings them some capsules and says, "Hey, live here. It's pretty bad, but you know, train. I want to train with you, and I want to learn how you do stuff, and I want to teach you some stuff too." And they're like, "Why are you being so nice? We don't trust you." He's like, "It's kind of what I do."
right. He's just like, in a sense, in this adaptation of Broly, Broly's not a bad guy.
Right.
So when Broly's like on edge when Goku shows up because they fought, but Goku's like, "Hey, I just want to fight you some more. Like I'm not here to kill you or anything like that. I want to train you. Let me come and train you and teach you some things, and maybe I can figure out how you're getting that huge surge of power."
Mm-hmm.
Because Goku is a power mongrel, as you
Sure,
can.
absolutely. And then of course it sets it up for future story arcs. Say they because they always encounter the next big bad, the next big strong guy. There's always somebody stronger, right?
Yeah,
And they have a potential ally who they could call upon to come in and fight with them. Of course, it's like the Hulk. So they now have a Hulk essentially.
yeah.
And the thing is that he's an ally, but what if he goes off the edge, rolls the go, goes off the edge and over the rails and all of a sudden it's like now he's an ally, but we can't control him.
Right.
And to be honest with you, if I'm just being selfish, I don't know if I ever want Broly to fully control himself. I think I want him to be that caged animal that he wants to help, and he wants to help Goku, and he wants to help Vegeta, and then but there's that if he starts going too far, they're like, "Go, stop, please," and like, "Oh no, what have we done?"
Yeah. There
I
needs to be something.
I think that
I
would be
think
great. And honestly, it's like I don't know if I want like. There's a whole discussion of whether or not they're gonna make a form of Super Saiyan 4 canon because the Berserk is basically the golden the big ape power, but in a base form. But of course,
well, and he states it. He says it's essentially the power of the monkey form, and he
mhm,
doesn't say golden. It's
no,
just of our normal transformation down to be contained in a small form. So he keeps his speed, but he has all the power.
right, and but then he also loses his mind like you would if he was the ape.
Right.
And then of course you go Super Saiyan in the Berserk form, and that's the green energy that was coming off
Right.
of Broly. And
Well,
what
he
I
had the green energy before he went Super Saiyan.
but even more so afterwards,
Yeah.
like his hair turned green, you know.
Yeah.
But what I really like is that I said this on Podcastrophe, like there was the whole thing of like, what if they learned how to do it and harness that, and it's like, well, imagine if they learned how to do the Berserk form, right? But then harness their Super Saiyan God energy through that.
Yeah.
And that might be a form of whatever they're going to do with the next form, whether it's Super Saiyan 4 or whatever. I don't necessarily think it's going to be leading to Super Saiyan 4. I think it's going to be taking that Berserk form and doing different things with it.
Yes.
So,
But I also think that Goku will be the one to lose his mind. I think because we know from the
yeah.
Saiyan saga, Vegeta can't control the
Yep.
monkey form.
Yep. And that's why Baby
And
could as well in GT.
yeah, and he's going to literally turn and he's going to master before Goku. They need to make it that way in my opinion
Well,
because
I can see it like because if they're trying to do this, then Goku's gonna maybe have Goku do it first, and then he goes off the rails, and the Vegeta's like, this was a mistake. Oh my gosh, what have we done? It's just like Broly,
right.
and then you have like maybe have Vegeta do it, and then he remembers that he could control himself. So he's
Yeah.
like, if I can get in there and control him, maybe I can match his power and calm him down.
Yeah.
You know, I think that'd be neat because then I think it'd be funny if you had Goku off the rails in Berserk form and you had Broly off the rails in Berserk form. They're like, this is it. We're all dead.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
they're just fighting each other and they both just won't stop and they're just like hulking out. I mean, all in all, this movie was super cool. It was awesome. I opening night, it made $7 million. It was the biggest movie in the country until the weekend, until Glass opened. But in a week, it made like 88 million. I have no idea where it's at now. Probably more than that, because it was playing until the end of January. I cannot wait for this movie to come out in Blu-ray because I want my wife to watch it because she's seen all the other stuff with me and she likes Dragon Ball as much as I do almost, and it's awesome. Really, really cool that 20 years later, Dragon Ball is as big as it's ever been.
Yep.
And like I remember the height. I remember the Frieza and Cell saga. It was like the as big as it got because Boo came around and it kind of went down a little bit because of how
Yeah.
long it took to air the whole Boo saga. It took like 2 years, but here it is, Broly bringing it back, and of course they're going to do new episodes of Super. So
And I believe since the other worlds or other universes have 3 Saiyans, they're going to make I think Broly's going to control it. I think that he's going to learn to control it and he's going to be the 3rd Saiyan.
that's awesome. I'm all for that. I'm
But
all.
I do agree with you that there should be points where he gets so mad that he loses it, and then Vegeta and Goku are like, "We gotta fuse again.
He's at it again, Kakarot.
Get over here. Let's get this over with."
Oh no, not again.
Yeah,
Can't we just like wave a flag or something? Have some sort of like sign? Hey, that's too much. Anyway,
But
guys, that's about all we got. I think maybe next week we'll talk a little bit more about some other stuff we were going to talk about. Of course, we wanted to talk about Metroid. That was a big thing. That's a big thing that Mike wants to talk about. Uh,
I'm
about
not mad.
no,
Not
no,
mad.
no. But we will talk about that next week. We'll shelve that because it's already happened. That happened last week. As some of you guys, if not most of you guys, already know about it. But we'll talk about that next week as well. And this is thank you guys so much for checking out this episode of the Game Addicts podcast and indulging us for a little bit of Dragon Ball talk as well. But
Yes.
thank you guys so much for downloading the episode. Of course, we're on podcast services all around the world. If we're not on your favorite service, let us know. That way we can get there. Just search Game Addicts Podcasts on your favorite one and on audio form that drops each and every single Thursday. On Wednesday, we do the live stream on Twitch and on twitch.tv/Game Addicts Play, and as well as our Facebook page. So be sure to stop by and watch the show along if you can. If not, that's cool because the video version goes up on our YouTube channel. Search Game Addicts Podcast. We show up on YouTube, and that's also like the hub for like audio, gameplay, and all of our video podcasts. So by all means, go check us out there. And then, of course, across the social media at Game Addicts Play, all across the board. With that being said, thank you guys so much for checking out this week's episode of the podcast. It's so cool to be back here and talking games and nerdy stuff, Dragon Ball stuff. We'll be coming at you next week here live on Wednesdays. We're gonna, if I stumble over my words, we're live on Wednesdays, of course, like I said. And we will see you next week right here. Until then, I've been Brando.
And I'm Mike.
Game on, guys. Have a good one.